Hello, everybody. Welcome to episode 5 of Ringside Heat Wayback. I am your host, Jose Taboada, alongside the legendary John Dawson. You can find him on social media at John Dawson Music. You can find me on social media at Taboada93. And here we are now with another episode, a new week, a new pair of episodes to explore. And this week, we are exploring episodes 5 and 6, like I said at the top of the show, and at the conclusion of episode 4 last Thursday. A great discussion to close out episode 4 last Thursday. That was one that hit home for sure. When you're reminded of COVID and the environment that we lived in while during the pandemic. So again, it is nice to be on the other side of that, so you can hear our full discussion and our thoughts and reflecting on that period at the end of episode 4. But this week, today rather, it is episode 5, which Lex labeled "The Only Constant in Life is Change," or "The Legends in Our Minds." So it looks like you have your choice of what you want to name this episode yourself. We are viewer interactive, and this is the perfect example of that. The description: it's an extended session with the Ring Crew talking about the Ultimate Warrior documentaries in AEW Double or Nothing, as well as the recent changes on the WWE commentary desk, which I oh boy, who was it? Who I actually, you know what? I don't even want to guess. I'm just gonna figure out for myself here. This was originally aired May 29th, 2021, the last episode of May, before, of course, episode 6 that takes place in June. So 1 month down of Ringside Heat. How do you feel about episode 5? What's the mood going into episode 5? After hearing
I'm really enjoying this. Like I'm just kind of sitting here, just thinking back. The pandemic stuff was really stuck with me. I mentioned it to my wife after we got off. So it's crazy to revisit that. Aside from all of the wrestling stuff, it's like, oh yeah, our real time reactions to everything that was going on just globally. And we're trying to just steer this little ship. And so it's going into episode 5. I'm really curious about what this commentary desk. I feel like
Same.
Pat McAfee's involved somehow, but I could be wrong about that.
Maybe because I know he was at WrestleMania 38. In fact, no, that was his first WrestleMania 38. So I don't know.
Oh, I think I know.
Is it? It's not Jimmy. It's not the debut of Jimmy. I forgot his last name there. I think his name was Jimmy, the MMA guy.
Yeah.
Unless this was the end of Adnan Virk as well.
I think you're getting warmer. I think it might have been the Adnan thing.
Well, here we go. Let's kick off episode 5. I always forgot to hit play knowing that it loads.
CAA members save every day at Shell.
Card or load your CAA number.
Do not necessarily reflect the views of Sauga 960 AM or its management.
It's the weekend, and you know what that means. Ringside Heat is on the air on News Talk Sauga 960 AM. Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Lex Tan, and we have a packed show for you today. The Ring Crew takes over to talk about their best and worst of the week, the Ultimate Warrior documentaries, and documentaries on the whole, and how AEW Double or Nothing is looking after an eventful Friday Night Dynamite. All this and more when Ringside Heat returns in a few.
No radio? No problem. Stream us live on sauga960am.ca.
Welcome back to Ringside Heat on News Talk Sauga 960 AM. I'm your host, Lex Tan. Thank you for tuning in, logging on, and listening to the show. Now, to preface this segment, as I've mentioned in our first episode, in terms of quantity of content, there's never been a better time than the past few years to be a wrestling fan. But dealing with a pandemic has been a trying time for everyone, and the wrestling industry is no exception to that. So, let me tell you something.
Brother!
You know, there's been a lot of very quick changes at the announce table in this past month alone. I was actually really excited to see Adnan Virk become the lead commentator for Monday Night Raw while being skeptical about the move, especially since they pulled Tom Phillips so suddenly. And then earlier this week, they let both Adnan and Tom go. However, I was proud that a Toronto boy got the job, a guy who started out at the Score Television Network as a part of that insanely talented cohort that included sports industry staples like our own Renee Paquette, Jackie Redmond of NHL Network, my Scarborough compatriot Tim McAuliffe, and Mississauga's own Sid Seixeiro. I wanted to see Adnan succeed, and I thought he would grow into wrestling commentary. I've done play-by-play myself, and I believe that he was making progress as the weeks went by on Raw. At the same time, I desperately wanted to take his job because that's my dream job in broadcasting. You're never going to make everybody happy. There's always going to be somebody who doesn't like you or you don't connect with. Michael Cole has been doing this job for more than 20 years, and for the majority of his career, he got booed heavily from the fans who didn't like him on the microphone. Even Mick Foley wonders what his WWF champ.
It was not the majority of his career. Michael Cole wasn't really booed in the Ruthless Aggression era. He wasn't really booed. He was really just an afterthought until the heel persona came in the 2010s. Come on.
Well, if he shows up tonight, you can mention this.
I'll say that. We continue.
Victory on the January 4, 1999 episode of Monday Night Raw would have sounded like if Jim Ross and Jerry the King Lawler were on the microphone. I do believe that Adnan was making some sort of progress as the weeks went by, but it wasn't enough for a lot of the fans, and I guess it wasn't enough for the brass as they ended up mutually parting ways and WWE bringing in Jimmy Smith as his replacement. I do wish Adnan all the best, but I know he'll be okay as he has already several other jobs to fall back on. But I'm still skeptical. It's happening again where they're just thrusting Jimmy into a headlining show of the biggest brand in pro wrestling without wrestling commentary experience. And maybe it's Vince Jr. thinking, well, my dad did this to me and I turned out just fine. Not everybody is a Vince McMahon Jr. on the microphone, especially since play-by-play for any sport is one of the toughest jobs to do. And I understand there's information that Vince McMahon, Tony Khan, Scott D'Amore, Court Bauer, and other promoters know that I don't have access to. But all of this is begging these questions. Does Vince McMahon not trust the commentary talent pool in the greater wrestling industry? Is it the pandemic that's kept so many independent wrestling announcers away from the microphone, unable to develop and hone their skills? Is it a Peacock or Fox thing that's influencing who gets hired? I don't know. Maybe the announcers out there, including myself, need to step up our game. Maybe the WWE needs to spend time developing their announcers instead of giving them the Vince Sr. treatment. Now, many of us regard Jim Ross as the greatest announcer to ever don a headset and microphone, but even JR himself believes that Gordon Soley was the greatest. That makes me ask the question, will there be anybody in this generation who will someday be regarded in the same way we see JR? It remains to be seen, but maybe the promoters, the producers, and TV executives all need to work harder and smarter. And yes, all of them and us fans maybe could be a little more patient.
And that's the bottom line, because Stone Cold said so.
When we return, the Ring Crew takes over for the rest of the hour here on Ringside Heat News Talk Sauga 960 AM.
All right, a couple things I wanted to bring up. I disagree with you got to give people time. As somebody who had broadcasting and experience like that, you need to go. We can't wait. People can't wait in the broadcasting industry. If it's not clicking with you right away, if something's not working, it's gonna look bad, and you can't. I don't think you have time to wait and see if it works. And look, I think Adnan is solid across in the LLB network. I think he is solid with what he does, but it never clicked from day one. It didn't really.
Yeah.
I hate to say, just as a fan, or maybe even as a broadcasting somebody with broadcasting experience and who listens to a lot of play-by-play. Like I love critiquing play-by-play. I love seeing approaches, and I like with what I was taught. And even though I've never done it professionally or never even had a shot, it's something that I study and that I've loved to study on the side. Adnan never hit. He never hit, and I wasn't sad to see him go. I felt like it was a relief to him that he left.
I don't even. Yeah, didn't leave much of an impression.
There wasn't much. It just doesn't work. So
I think I like what you're saying. Anyways, you said you had more. Was that
no,
you-
okay. Yeah. What would you like?
Well, I do think I agree with you. You don't really have. I know what Lex is saying. Give people time. WWE is a unique brand. What those guys are fielding between promos, getting stuff from the back. Must be one of the craziest commentary gigs going.
It's not easy.
No, it can't be. And they're the show, for everyone who's not in the arena. But yeah, you've got to adapt quick. And I don't think it's like you can give somebody a year and go, hey, well, series next. Like, no, you don't have that kind of time. But
No.
The funny thing about it is, Lex asked the question, will we have somebody who's like JR? Well, that's evidently that's become Michael Cole.
Yep.
Even since that episode, it's Cole. I mean, he was sitting right there the whole time.
Has
right?
Cole lasted longer than JR?
Yeah, probably.
Now,
because JR would have been well, I don't know when he came to WWE, but I think he would have been, yeah, it would have been tail end of New Generation, because when Vince was still, remember, Vince was on commentary up until, so JR, it couldn't have been before like 97 where JR was taking it over, because who's on the desk with Vince back in those days?
Jim Ross and King.
It was King,
but it
JR?
was split between Mr. Perfect.
Yeah, it was
Roddy
a bit more of a revolving
Piper.
door.
It was
but
a revolving door, but
But
Vince
in terms
was
of taking the
consistent.
captain's chair, that was post Screwjob.
When Jim Ross made his WWE debut at WrestleMania 9, Macho Man and Bobby Heenan. Bobby Heenan was a big player too.
Yeah.
So, but again, like 93, who was born in 93, me, and I think Jim Ross kind of left the full-time position. Oh, what 20? I this will be tough to figure out. 20.
Yeah, but JR wasn't in Cole's position full time until post Screwjob. Right.
Oh yeah.
Like,
Oh, from that perspective, but it's still
that's
okay.
what I'm saying. He was there. He was a personality, but in terms of the guy driving it the way Cole is, Cole's had a far longer tenure.
I think so. And again, like I'm happy that I know that it was a tough period for Michael Cole in the 2010s, especially with the whole Vince in his ear thing. But Jim Ross had Vince screaming in his ear, and he turned out to be one of the greatest of all time. But I feel like now, with the Triple H era, Michael Cole's finally been able to deliver what we knew he could have the whole time. And it's sad that people really started to notice that, unfortunately, with tragedy when Jerry Lawler had his heart attack live on Raw in Montreal in 2012. I think it was 2012. So, but Michael Cole, I think at the end of the day, has established himself as the next voice of WWE.
Maybe he's still shy on JR, because JR was there for a while in terms of years, but in terms of impact, they're comparable for sure.
Yeah, so I don't want to cut Michael Cole some slack. Again, I don't think he was booed for the entirety of his career. He was just a side. He was just he was just a backstage like piece to promos or whatever. It wasn't. I mean, yeah, he had WrestleMania 15, but then he handed the main event to Jim Ross, right? So Michael Cole's had his moments. He was able to flourish properly and just
But the bottom line is, for a lot of kids now, the way I would have imagined JR, I mean, as a kid, it was Vince McMahon and Jesse the Body Ventura and Gorilla Monsoon. Those were my guys.
And for me, it's Jim Ross.
But then later there's people now who only are going to hear Michael Cole's voice. Like when my kids imitate commentary when they play, they're imitating Cole.
Damn, I never thought of it like that. Wow.
Right?
Yeah, because I like to imitate Jim Ross and
Yeah,
Jerry the
like
King
they're not
Lawler.
going to go by God, like they're not going to hear any of that. You know what I mean? Like
What,
they're
what,
imitating Michael Cole.
what are they gonna say?
Well, he doesn't have any of those same, quite the same
No, he has
isms.
something. He has
But he's
something.
got
Vintage.
vintage. You just hear inflections and I pick those things up maybe just because of my musical ears. Anyways,
Yeah. God. But moral of the story is, I'm a coal miner, and I will never ever drop that feeling.
Stream us live at sauga960am.ca.
And welcome back to Ringside Heat on Sauga 960 AM. My name is Lex Tan, and if you want to reach us, follow us, interact with us, reach us on social media at ringside_heat and on facebook.com/ringside heat. So much to talk about today, so much that we just can't contain it. So the Ring Crew is here to take you through the rest of the hour. And Jose Taboada is off this week for work, but you can hear him and me on the Under the Middle Rope podcast, available right now on YouTube, as well as Spotify and wherever you get your podcasts.
oh, you brought Lex onto your show.
Yes, it was like one of the only. I only did that podcast with friends, but it was the only episode. It was the only person I interviewed on that podcast. The only one, and it was
I
fun.
don't think I ever listened to that interview.
Wow. Okay, never mind. Just carry on.
So, speaking of which, if you missed an episode of our show and want to catch up, you can find us on Spotify, Google Podcasts, Spreaker, Deezer, Podcast Addict, Podchaser, and Geo7. Just look up Ringside Heat and you'll find us there. Now, on the Ring Crew today, let's welcome back after a short hiatus our wrestling memorabilia collector at Coco Collects, Chico Nuguid. How you doing?
I'm doing great. I'm
Oh yeah,
feeling
we haven't seen
ultimate.
Chico in a couple weeks.
Yes, exactly. Quite apt for what we're going to be talking about today. Our graphic designer, Twitch streamer at Risen72, Colin Dodge. Welcome back again, my friend.
Oh, thank you. Very happy to be here.
Awesome. And another Twitch streamer, staying with our Twitch streamers, we've got at MKDCE04, MKD Mark Farinas. How are you?
How's it going, Lex? How you doing?
I am just, as Chico would say, I'll steal that from you, Chico, ultimate. And educator, musician, and co-writer for theme music at John Dawson Music, Mr. John Dawson. Great to have you back here. How you doing?
Just fine. Great to be back. Always enjoy this.
And let's get right to it. Or just
Always
bring it and lay the
enjoy
smack down. Give
Yeah.
us your best and worst of
Really
the week.
tell, John.
And as you're listening as well, if you want to give us your best and worst of the week, lay the smack down for the worst. Just bring it for the best. You can always remember to tweet us at ringside_heat. So who would like to start off with your best and your worst?
For me, I really just kind of kept it to TV. Best and the worst did come from WWE this week. Still, the most compelling storyline angle continues to be Roman and Jimmy and Jey Uso. I love just kind of the slow development for what seems like forever now, and especially with both of the brothers back together and what that means and fitting in with Roman's table. It just continues
Not
to
even
be the
called
most
the
compelling
bloodline
for me.
yet.
On the other side of that, I don't know what they're trying to do with Rhea's character. She can't out heel Charlotte. So if that's the route they're going down, where they're both heels but they're kind of competing with each other, or when they face each other, then Rhea's kind of the face. It's just very confusing, and the only one suffering from these choices is Rhea. So that's what I found for this week.
Mark.
Rest assured,
All right,
2021
so
Colin,
just
she'll be fine.
I will say this. Obviously, as we all know, Colin hasn't been elected to not watch WWE since Logan Paul jumped ship with the company. It's made it very public. It's very well known. It does kind of break my heart a little bit because he talks about the start of it all, and he's there, right? He's there for the whole thing. And then it ultimately didn't end up seeing the conclusion how it all panned out. Which again, we respect, with his decision.
Oh yeah, for
to do
sure.
all that,
But I agree.
Obviously, I selfishly I wish that he would see everything that's been going on, because there's more to it in my opinion, and he knows I've expressed that to him, and he knows that as well. But damn, it's just it's interesting. That's another kind of perspective that we see here is that Colin started off enjoying it and curious, and then ultimately said never mind. So just damn,
Yeah, and I mean, those are decisions we all make, and of course we respect those decisions. I agree that I too miss. Steve himself didn't watch for a while too. He had some issues with. I don't think I'm telling tales here, but they're his to tell. But there were things that were bothering him, and when WWE course corrected, he came back.
Fair.
But I really missed those conversations with Steve, and that's really all it is with Colin is the missing of being able to talk about WWE with somebody that I've talked about WWE with for much of my life.
Yeah, exactly. For ages.
Yeah. Anyways, it is what it is.
For the week, it has to go back to Friday Night SmackDown, and it was to the main event. It was supposed to be Dominic Mysterio and Rey Mysterio facing the Dirty Dogs, Ziggler and Rude. Apparently, it became like a 2-on-1 handicap match, and you know what? They just keep on firing on all cylinders. Just keep the train rolling for the Mysterios. The father and son do it. They finally defended their SmackDown Tag Team Championship. You could put this guy in any position, Dominic Mysterio, like under pressure and are bad situations. I mean, I'm not going to say that he's ready for singles competition. I mean, like going solo, whatever. But this duel's already on fire ever since WrestleMania. For my latest SmackDown, though, it is going back to WWE, but it's in a more corporate role. So WWE, they released Tom Phillips. They went through some massive changes earlier in the week, as you probably heard. Adnan Virk did get cut ties with WWE, and so was two others as well. But the biggest one was Tom Phillips to me. He did Monday Night Raw, he did SmackDown, NXT. He did all of them. It's just that I don't understand why he was gone for such a long time, and we just didn't get an answer why he was gone for such a long time. I didn't even know what was going on. I thought he was going to be switched to a different role, but then we finally found out that he got released. It's so unfortunate that WWE is making all these cuts and great talent like him, that he's very good under the mic. So, you know what? Best wishes to him. I hope he can find somewhere else, that maybe another wrestling company that can pick him up. But you know what? It's very unfortunate they lost someone like him.
And you know what? I'm going to jump on that one right there. That was also my latest SmackDown. A whole bunch of releases in the WWE. I know times are tough with the pandemic and everything, but I do agree that is actually one of the weirdest and kind of most surprising things, and probably the worst thing that probably happened this week is the cutting of Tom Phillips from WWE. And it's something that we brought up in the in our group chat earlier in this week, is that I'm wondering how the WWE is working right now, because at least what's going through Vince's mind, because, he brought in Adnan and unfortunately things didn't work out with him. And now they're bringing in Jimmy Smith, who's from the MMA world. So there might be a little bit of maybe a little bit of a leg up that he has on Adnan coming in. But I'm wondering, does Vince not trust the wrestling broadcasting community around right now so much that that he has to go outside of the people who are actually trained for this business? I mean, not everybody can be a Pat McAfee. Not everybody can just jump in right there and know exactly what to do and is a showman like that. So
probably he's facing a lot of pressure right now. This is post WrestleMania, and it's already May already is coming, and now we're already into June. So you may never know what's happening.
So that's a little bit of a tough thing here for me. Now, quickly, my best of the week, my just bring it, is seeing the crowd at Daly's Place for AEW Friday Night Dynamite. Refreshing. It is so needed. A little concerning because how they're a little bit close for my personal comfort right now, but it is great to see a big live crowd interacting with the wrestlers during that show. Sauga 960 AM's Ringside Heat with Lex Tan and the Ring Crew. So just bring it and latest SmackDown. Chico and John, who wants to go next?
All right, I'll jump in. I think it's great to hear both you guys say in terms of the worst. I definitely felt it was the firings, not even anyone specific. That's just really sad to see. Yeah, who knows what's going on behind it? You hear everything from rumors of Vince trying to tidy things up to sell, or things like that. But who knows what's happening? It's a crazy time for a lot of people. It's just sad to see that happening.
Wow.
Yeah.
A sale happened to TKO eventually.
It sure did. Yeah.
Wow. But not for another few years. That was 2023. So you're
The,
still
the cogs, that's a big old engine you got to fire up to make that sale. So I don't know how I tapped into that or
no.
where
I
that
yeah.
was in the
I think at
process.
the no, but I think it's because a lot of people were starting to get to that thought. They're slowly getting there. Not that I wasn't, but it
It
crossed my
was in the
mind.
wind. Yeah, it was in the wind. Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
I do want to continue with this before I do have the list of the people that were released, but I do want to continue with the episode before we
Yeah.
reveal
Go
that
ahead.
list. So let's keep it going.
To a company we all love very much. In terms of the best, I've said it before, and you guys know I'm a sucker for little things. I'm a total mark for little details. So I loved Orange Cassidy handing Kenny the envelope with his name on it. Just cracked me up. For Kenny, I just thought that was great. And as much as I love that, Pat
still makes me
McAfee was
laugh.
2 hours worth of little moments for me. The guy is just so entertaining. I think he's just doing a great job, and he's really brought some real character to SmackDown. SmackDown as a whole, really, I thought was a great show this week. I thought the in-ring work was really good. I think their best stories are there, and now they've got McAfee and Cole on at the table there, and I just think it's really doing some good stuff. So I think SmackDown in general, McAfee more specifically.
And Chico, you got the last word.
I'll take the last word. That's fine with me. I guess my lay the SmackDown this week would have to be. They're still going on with this Reginald, Shayna Baszler, Nia Jax business. I guess it's going to lead to a feud between the former women's tag champs. I just think it's drawn out. It's stale. I don't know if the live crowd vibe is going to bring anything back to that in a couple of months, but I don't really care about it. So I'll just change the channel and not give Vince McMahon his ratings on Monday Night Raw that he wants. That story is beyond stale to me. I would say I look forward less to Shayna and Nia and Reginald than I'm looking forward to the Evolution, if that tells you anything. And in terms of the best, you guys have picked out a few great ones already, so I'll just highlight something else. Very obscure in the bigger picture of things, but I think I'm quite entertained by Cameron Grimes and his storyline with the $1 Million Man, Ted DiBiase. And I guess the nostalgia kick inside of me just kind of was touched a little bit by seeing Ted and hearing that $1 Million laugh on NXT was pretty cool. And they had a little face off. I'm not sure where this is going. I don't know if Ted DiBiase is supposed to have chosen between LA Knight and Cameron Grimes, but I'm entertained by all the To the Moon stuff. So give me more of that, please. Plus the Roman stuff, plus the big crowd at Daly's Place. Pretty decent week of wrestling.
So, commercial. Is that a commercial break?
And speaking of a nostalgia kick, we're going to go take a break. But when we do come back, we will talk about our best and favorite biographies in wrestling that we've seen throughout, whether it's WWE, whether it's Dark Side of the Ring, whether it's A&E biography, you name it. It's a wrestling biography. Let's talk about that when we come back. Ringside Heat on News Talk Sauga 960 AM.
So, who was released that week? First of all, there were a set of releases the month before, which included Samoa Joe, Billy Kay, Mickey James, Peyton Royce, Fandango. There were a lot of people that went. Bo Dallas, Chelsea Green had her first release before her inevitable return. But in May, it was NXT talent. Vanessa Bourne, Urza Judge, Kavita Devi, Alexander Wolf, Skylar Story, and Velveteen Dream. And Velveteen Dream, and then also as well, just a couple of days before the episode was released, a lot of front office workers, no less than 60 on the 27th of May. So,
wow.
I think just Sam Duke as well was a name that I heard. And actually more releases happened the week after, which is in the episode 6 discussion. So I'll leave that for you and not spoil it.
The Samoa Joe one still surprises me.
it'll never make sense to me, especially because he
Yeah.
commentated it at that WrestleMania.
Yeah,
It's
that one, how you don't find something to do with that guy, I don't understand that one.
but that was the landscape of it, and of course the commentary as well. So
Wow.
releases, man, it's some.
This won't be the last time we talk about releases.
I mean, literally the next episode, and
yeah, literally next episode.
I think
right?
I think in
And then there was a
2022
big dump, I think, in one summer. I think it was 22.
I think so as well.
There
So
was a big one. Yeah,
lots to
if
look
I
at.
remember
Lots
correctly.
to look at. Let's keep it going.
Yep.
No radio? No problem. Stream us live on saga960am.ca.
So fun.
Welcome back to Ringside Heat on News Talk Saga 960 AM. I'm Lex Tan, and you can follow me at Lex Tan Media, and the ring crew is here with us as well. We've got at Coca Collects, Chico Nuguid. We've got at John Dawson Music, John Dawson. We've got at MKD_CE04, Mark Farinas, and at Risen72, Colin Dodge. And gentlemen, I think we have a new Just Bring It Best of the Week here, and it is two related things. It is the brand new AEW Women's Championship title, as well as Dr. Britt Baker DMD. First of all, that championship title that they just revealed yesterday on AEW Friday Night Dynamite looks a lot better than the one that Sheeta's been holding for the past year.
Yeah, Sheeta's old belt is the first belt that was for the AEW Women's World Championship, and it was fine for Riho, but Riho was kind of puny compared to everyone else in the division. So it's time that the belt grew up a little.
I just gotta say really quickly, Alundra Blaze, that was your cue to show up in the ring, not Tony Schiavone. You should have took that old belt, had a trash can in the hand, and put it right where it should have been. Probably some flames after that, but you know what? That belt. You know what they say? Bigger things come into bigger packages.
Yep, and something that might
Jesus
actually be bigger, which we'll talk about in one of the future segments over here. It may be the coronation of Dr. Britt Baker DMD, and she looks like she'll be wearing that brand new title belt that Sheeta's going to have to give up in a couple of days. But
predictions a little early, Lexman Tan.
Exactly. Just a little teaser for one of the next segments that are coming up here on Ringside Heat on News Talk Saga 960 AM. But I would love to say that the belt does look a lot more prestigious than the current NWA Women's title. Not to say that the NWA title isn't prestigious in itself. It's just, it looks like, as Chico has said, it kind of looks a little flimsy, like a little bit of a piece of paper, but it does have that nostalgic feel to it. So based on that, let's delve into the nostalgia and talk about biographies. It's been a big month and a bit for biographies from A&E and from the Dark Side of the Ring, and it is bringing up a lot of good nostalgic feels as well. So I want to talk about your best and favorite biographies or documentaries that you have come across over the years that you've been a wrestling fan. Who'd like to start?
All right, I'll jump in here. My favorite, there have been, obviously, as you said, there's so many to pick from, but the one I go to the most is the Monday Night Wars multi-disc series that was narrated by Keith David. I think came out in 2015, 2 volumes, and I just really enjoyed that. Just reliving all of that and just all the different things. So much of it I've forgotten about, and it's something I could just watch over and over again. And Keith David's voiceover is just so fantastic too. But that one, 100% for me is that collection, the 2 volumes, the Monday Night Wars.
And just, I guess I want to jump in here and throw in my 2 cents on some favorite biographies. One that particularly stood out to me when it came out was the CM Punk Best in the World DVD. Before that, WWE were putting out many DVD releases for various superstars, and I think that being a pre-network era, those documentaries were great to pick up. Whether it's right when it came out or later on as it went on sale. But one thing about the Best in the World DVD to me is that the cinematography changed. It's like they finally decided to try something new And it was so appropriate because CM Punk at the time had won the world title, but he was very unorthodox. You know, he's not like Vince McMahon's typical big man wet dream superstar. And yet he clicked with the fans, you know, in that time. And the DVD kind of showed that it was different. It was not quite like any other documentary film that WWE was producing at the time. So I think it started a little bit of a movement towards being a little more adventurous with their cinematography when it comes to their biography. So I did enjoy that one. CM Punk, Best in the World, from around 2012.
Okay, I'm gonna go off the rails here. It is part of the WWE, but it did happen on network television. It was an ESPN 30 for 30. It was called Nature Boy. I think it was around 2017 or 2018. It documented the life about Ric Flair, about his ups and downs towards the wrestling business. I mean, I can't believe how many wives this guy had. And this guy traveled all around the world. I mean, he is the greatest. He is the dirtiest, and he is the Nature Boy. ESPN, they didn't pull any punches on Rick while filming this shoot. I mean, it probably took almost a year and a half just to get everybody involved, including like his daughter, Charlotte Flair. Pretty interesting to hear it. Like, I mean, it's a side of Rick that we thought we knew, and then there's another side of Rick that, gosh, man, he took it all into stride. It's just unfortunate that ESPN, that's the only like wrestling documentary that I've seen. I really hope that they go for more. It's a great look and his perspective of his life. They got to cover everything, including like his son at the very end and how emotional he got. But yeah, the Ric Flair one, Nature Boy, 30 for 30. Go check it out.
Ringside Heat on Newstalk Saga 960 AM. We're talking about your favorite biographies or documentaries in terms of the wrestling world. And Colin, I want to hear what you got to say about what your favorite documentary or biography is.
Well, for me, it was a toss-up because, like Chico, I actually bought that CM Punk one. Enjoy it very much. Very big CM Punk fan. He could do anything, and it's fine. I'll watch it. But in terms of the most eye-opening
WWE
and what I learned the most had to be the Andre the Giant one. I think it was 2018 that came out. There was one even a longer time ago that A&E did, I think in like 99 or 2000. But in terms of just learning the most about just kind of what he went through, what it is to be dealing with being that size, that kind of thing, just the struggle that he had, but how much fun he had and how much he loved the wrestling business and things like that. I think that will have to go down as my favorite one, and one I can rewatch too. Just it's just a fascinating story, his life and his time in the wrestling industry.
And my personal favorite one is the Eddie Guerrero Cheating Death and Stealing Life documentary. That is probably one of my favorite ones because not only did it show how down in the depths that Eddie did, and they didn't shy away from that, from the demons that he faced, but how he overcame those demons and became the champion and the inspiration that he did become when he did win the WWE Championship off of Brock Lesnar, which is, first of all, very crazy to me that that as much as I would have loved to see Eddie Guerrero win the championship at WrestleMania, the fact that he was the one that was chosen to beat Brock Lesnar at No Way Out 2004, that was one of the greatest things that I'd ever seen in my young wrestling fandom days. And I still shed a tear every single time I see Eddie jump into the crowd after the referee counts to 3. And it's just a beautiful thing. Plus, seeing backstage of him calling Vicky and just thanking her for everything that she's done. And that woman has been through so much. And as much as her character is a very grating character to see on TV, what a strong and beautiful woman that she has, in the heart that she has inside of her, to take care of her family and to take care of Eddie. So that's my nostalgia. My nostalgia moments here for documentaries.
CAA members save every day at Shell.
Wow, I don't know what I would pick for my favorite documentary.
No, yeah.
I mean, oh my god, this is gonna be so controversial to say, but it's okay. But like the one documentary that sticks out to me, not because it's my favorite, but because of how much it hurts is the 2-part Benoit that Dark Side of the Ring did. It hurts a lot, especially because they went into detail with Eddie's passing, as you know that ironically as that was brought up, but it's well done. It's a brilliant documentary.
I've seen it. Yeah, no.
I rewatched it with our friend David a couple months ago. Last month, I think he wanted to watch Dark Side of the Ring episode. He never saw it, and he wanted to know the story. And I said, "All right, I'll do it." And maybe that's why it's fresh in my mind. But again, like that, the story it's so sad, so angering too. It's so heartbreaking.
There was an attempt at whatever healing might even be possible in that, and that was nice.
Yeah, the connection at the end, with the way that it ended, but yeah, it's so well done. But again, we both were like, I am quote unquote old enough, or I'm not that young to know that, to remember that day of it.
I remember
and I don't want
all
to
of
get
that.
into I don't want to get into a conversation about something because we got to go through the rest of the episode. But no, just the doc just resonated with me well, and I don't even know what to say to that, but it just resonated and just ingrained in my mind. So just a brilliant
it was a
job,
shock.
but just a brilliant job by Dark Side of the Ring. So I guess that would be. It's not my favorite documentary. I just bring that up because you just got to appreciate the work that goes into these kind of topics, especially topics that serious. And Dark Side of the Ring, I think, nailed it. I really think they did. So
I think I wouldn't change my pick. I still think I'd have to say the Monday Night Wars. However, the Ruthless Aggression series was really good as well. Monday Night War was, oh man.
I feel like there's probably some WrestleMania documentary that I'm just a fan of, and I'm just say hell yeah, somewhere.
Yeah,
I don't know where, but somewhere.
The only thing is, it probably, I mean, there is a bit of kayfabe in there, and some of the talking head interviews are people like, oh yeah, wow. I wish they could almost redo it again now, but
definitely, yeah. I mean, one can only hear so many different sides of that of that doc.
Well,
that story, right? But yeah, especially now with the WWE that's there today, and with Dark Side of the Ring existing too. I think
Dark Side of the Monday Night Wars feels like there could be something.
Oh, good Lord.
There's got to be a dark side to that.
Something.
Monday,
Number into the show.
This week.
Day is a CAA member at Shell.
Taco Tuesday.
Are you done yet?
National Fritters Day. New Year's Day. My birthday.
Wow.
And speaking of biographies and documentaries, though, we have this week a very big thing to talk about: the Ultimate Warrior A&E biography and Dark Side of the Ring. And I want to get you guys' thoughts on this, and as well I want to get the listeners' thoughts on it. What do you think about these documentaries? Hit us up at Ringside.
Wait a minute, was that
We're going to talk about that after the break.
Was Warrior featured on both of those?
I just pulled it up. So I don't know. There was a full-on Ultimate Warrior episode that released the day before our episode, or a couple days before our episode, whatever. But yeah, I'm not sure. There is one guaranteed full episode on Dark Side of the Ring. Yeah,
I think at this point I was starting to wonder if Dark Side wasn't somehow competing with A&E, and that maybe they had some business with AEW.
Well, I mean,
which I think is true.
It's funny because season 1 had 6 episodes. Season 2 had 10 episodes. Season 3, which is where this Warrior documentary is, 14 episodes. Like they just increased the production and it's their longest season yet. Hilariously enough, I think
The Rock produced that third season, didn't he? I think $7 weren't they involved in that somewhere in there?
I don't. It doesn't.
Oh no, The Rock did Dark Side of the Territories.
I don't know.
Yeah, he did. So there's something different, something specific on territories.
Mm-hmm.
Anyways, Jericho, I think, was heavily involved. Whatever.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. 100%. Yeah.
At 60 a.m.
Also, I love that there's
Stream us live at Sauga 9.
That there's like the random commercial cut break from the CAA before the actual commercial break.
Oh, it's so good.
60am.ca.
Ringside Heat on News Talk Saga 960 AM. I'm Lex Tan. We've got Chico, we've got John, we got Mark, we got Colin, the ring crew in attendance and in performance here. We are going to be talking about some more nostalgia, and it is in regards to the man formerly known as Jim Hellwig, the Ultimate Warrior, and the fact that he had the A&E biography and the Dark Side of the Ring both air this week.
Yeah.
And I'd love to be able to hear your thoughts on these biographies and how they were treated themselves.
There's that answer.
So again,
Yeah.
I'll open the floor here, and who would like to give the first thoughts of this segment? Mark.
I watched the Dark Side of the Ring first, and then I watched the A&E biography of Ultimate Warrior. First off, the Dark Side of the Ring one, I always say it was good. It wasn't that I wasn't that impressed about it. I mean, they did touch upon the points where he did self-destruct. You know, when he had that infamous letter to Vince, and then Vince wrote him back and told him he was gone on the spot. You know, I mean, they could have done it better. They could have had way more guests. I understand that he had his ex-wife on Dark Side of the Ring compared to his daughters and his current wife on the A&E one. It's weird because you got guests from both shows, but they decide to veer off on one of them. Dave Meltzer, WWE one. Vince Russo, WWE. Jake the Snake, Dark Side. So, like, they're trying to even this one out. For the A&E one, very interesting. I like where they got towards his past, his days from WCCW, when he teamed up with Sting, and all of that self-destruction, of course, when he decides to become a motivational speaker in 2005. You know, to me, it was well documented. It was really good. It's just very sad to have an ending that he just passed away 2 nights after Monday Night Raw.
J.R.R. Tolkien said there is no story without a fall. And I think when taken together, both of these are a fall and a redemption sequence. Dark Side of the Ring, it could have been about 2 different guys. And I think ostensibly that's precisely what we saw. We saw 2 very different stories. And the A&E one leaned heavily on the man and the state of mind he was in when he left the world, which I think ultimately is far more poignant. And I think at the end of the day, I'm glad that was there as a counterweight. To leave it at the dark side narrative, I think would very much have been a disservice to the person his family knew him as. And so I think the 2 stories are important. And I don't think there's any shame in admitting that there may have been some real truths in the dark side story. It's Dark Side of the Ring. So I liked the fact that these 2 existed together. And I like the fact that A&E, and I could guess you could say by extension, WWE were kind of the ones that were giving the redemption piece at the end. I thought that was also pretty poignant. I do think in general, Dark Side of the Ring is walking a very fine line with the way I don't know if they're just gonna, you think of stuff like Bruiser Brody or the Owen Hart stuff, like the genuinely really kind of mysterious things that have happened in the history of wrestling. How long before it just becomes digging up stuff on people and painting really negative character portraits? Because you could do that for probably a lot of guys in that business, and not just the Warrior. So I do think there's a line that they got to watch as a program a little bit. But I thought with the A&E piece, I thought it was a really interesting study in a fall and redemption story.
And I think I'm the only guy who's quoted Tolkien on a wrestling show.
I believe so. Yes.
I love that.
It's I mean, I think there is a lot of darkness to cover in wrestling that I feel like Dark Side of the Ring has.
Same with music. Right?
You're right. They're on season 5 for crying out loud. And I just realized that season 5 is about to wrap up because they have their next episode April 30th, this Tuesday. April 30th. Well, this Tuesday at the time of this recording. I forgot this is the week after. About the Sandman from ECW, and then May 7th, Black Saturday, The Rise of Vince. So, I mean, their stories are still there. I think, unfortunately, it'll always surround wrestling. But yes, it's a lot of it is WWE. To kind of answer your question though, I feel like WWE. I think it's more WWE purposely released that documentary on A&E, helped release that documentary A&E because they knew what was coming in Dark Side of the Ring, or they must have been like maybe tipped off, or maybe they just know his history as well. They're like, okay, we need to.
They just smashed it together and got ahead of it.
And then release that. Release that week of course, it was all the same week, I guess, but they just wanted to showcase.
Yeah, they presented the counter argument.
Yeah, exactly. Right. And especially because, they had the Warrior Award and everything at the time. Like, yeah, they want to defend.
Yeah, that one can do brand damage for sure when you got the Warrior Award. If you get a massive hit piece out there.
And it was
on a
still
guy you
relevant.
named an award after.
The Warrior Award was still happening. I realized that this past WrestleMania, it looks like they quietly faded away.
It's probably best.
Probably for the best. But yeah, like they just want to, they had like the whole branding of it, and
you can give that award away privately and not have it at WrestleMania.
Yeah,
that can be a hey, WWE, give you the Warrior Award.
Significant, still significant. Yeah,
for sure.
I'm gonna jump off on that one right now, because when I looked at both of the documentaries, I saw the A&E one, and then I saw the Dark Side of the Ring one. I agree. There was there was a bit of a story arc of, from the highs, the lows, and into the redemption of Jim Hellwig Warrior, and I think I appreciated that quite a bit, honestly, because you got to see a little bit more of, I guess, the facets of the personality that was Jim Hellwig Warrior. I was actually surprised, as much as I appreciated that they went a little bit darker on Dark Side of the Ring, because of course that's on brand for them. I also felt that it was a little bit more heavier into the negative. It was like really crossing that line, as you said, John, that, let's say, the Benoit one presented a little bit more of a redemptive thing at the end, with Nancy Benoit's sister reuniting with Chris Benoit's son, and
there we go.
And seeing how heartwarming it was through the sadness that they experienced, that they were able to reunite together, because they were very close. And this is that was an idea, a moment in time that only those two know the full extent of the tragedy and the trauma that they experienced. Being able to share that and have a little bit of a redemptive moment that way with the two of them, that I think that Dark Side of the Ring for Ultimate Warrior didn't actually portray very well. But Chico, I know we were talking about this the other day. You said you felt a little bit more, a little bit more, I guess, favorable toward the Dark Side of the Ring than I was.
Oh, definitely. I think that the A&E one and of course the Dark Side of the Ring one, they work together as one big picture to me. I like that A&E was broadcast first, because it gave you, I think, a better balanced picture. It took you through the highs and lows, like you guys have been saying, and it put in a good redemptive piece at the end. Now, I think what I'm seeing that you may not have seen is that the Dark Side of the Ring also has a bit of a redemption piece, but there's far less of it. I was surprised pleasantly that after all the interview bits that Jake the Snake Roberts contributed to Dark Side of the Ring, which, by the way, he did both. I think he did both shows. So Jake was talking all negative and how he really hated Warrior towards the end of their relationship with each other as people. And then Warrior kind of disarmed Jake with his contrition and his sincerity, as if, he knew to make peace, because he really knew that he hurt Jake all those years ago. So I was touched by that too. So I really think that there's a cool synergy between the two, where A&E was sort of the main program and Dark Side of the Ring was a bit of the extra features on the DVD, if you purchased the DVD kind of deal. So to me, it worked as one big picture with a few different puzzle pieces, because they had zero of Warrior's first wife in A&E, but they had her, and sure, she exposed some of those characteristics, but it's not like she went on a smear campaign against him. She still loved him as a friend. And that was surprising in a pleasant way for me too, was that Sherry, his Warrior's ex-wife, really, it was just like two people had a relationship that didn't end up working out, and they just faced the reality of that. So I really don't think that it was much of a hit piece I don't think either of them were. I think both were just honest assessments that kind of add up to one bigger picture.
I just sorry, Colin. I know you haven't spoke yet, but I know what you're saying with that, and the Jake the Snake thing was really nice too. But it is dark side of the ring. I think their raison d'etre, if you will, if I'm to use that, is to keep it a little bit cloudy. So it just overall the tone, everything in the mood of it just felt like, oh yeah, there was some nice stuff, but there was creepy, it just felt it just still felt very dark. But I do know what you're saying. That Jake, I thought Jake looked better in that than Warrior did, in that, but that's my opinion. Sorry.
At least he was speaking the truth about it too. Like, also, like, I want to add that there were clips about Jim, audio clips on Jim about Dark Side of the Ring, but then on Biography, it's just like reruns from him back from like 2014, 2005. So we got to see like both perspectives of him speaking out before his untimely death.
Ringside Heat and News Talk Saga 960. Colin, I know you're dying to give your thoughts about this right now.
Well, for me, for both of them, it was a lesson in expectations, because my framework beforehand was, of course, the hit piece of the destruction of the self-destruction of Ultimate Warriors. So I didn't know what to expect from A&E, because I knew that was hand in hand working with WWE for that one. And with Dark Side of the Ring, as we've said already, that's their slant. It's Dark Side of the Ring. So of the two, what I expected to maybe be another hit piece would have been maybe Dark Side of the Ring, or at least highlighting the only extreme worst parts of his life. But with the A&E one, again, yes, that one had the redemption, and to me, that was much more balanced. I did find it interesting that, Sherry wasn't in the first one at all. And when I watched that one, that's when I learned that the Dark Side one was even happening. Watching that one, I expected the most, the biggest part of the hit piece would be from her. But yeah, like Chico said, it was an explanation of their relationship, told it like it was, didn't hide anything, but also, how their story ended was great. The most interesting for me was Jake the Snake's part, where as somebody who's caught in the crossfire of, when Warrior first was let go and everything like that, where his, that was going to be his big payday, his big run. And he's like, oh, and, Jake even said that, Vince said it, you have to be the unluckiest guy I know, because the rug was taken out from under him and he didn't even see it coming, So I think taking both of them into account really does tell a more complete story. Dark Side did better than I thought they would, and A&E was pleasantly much more balanced and showed that more redemption side than I expected that they would.
I love the takes that you guys all have. And, while we will never know the full story of anybody in this world other than our own selves, it was an interesting way to show a real complete picture of the man, or at least as complete a picture as you can get of the man the world knew as the Ultimate Warrior. And, I hope he's resting in peace and just living it up with all the greats of this wrestling business that we all love. We're going to take a break here on Ringside Heat, and we're going to tee up AEW's pay-per-view this coming Sunday, coming up tomorrow, Double or Nothing, when we return on Ringside Heat, News Talk Saga 960 AM.
New radio.
Any other quick thoughts to that, John? I think it was pretty straightforward. I don't think I have too much to add onto that myself.
No, I think we covered that one pretty well.
Yeah, I think so. So good job, guys.
No problem. Stream us live on saga960am.ca.
And we're back with more Ringside Heat here on News Talk Saga 960 AM. One more segment with the ring crew here. Chico, John, Mark, and Colin, thank you guys for being on the show again today. And let's talk about AEW's next upcoming pay-per-view, Double or Nothing. What are you looking forward to? What are predictions you have? And possibly some fantasy booking? Whatever you guys want to talk about with AEW pay-per-view, let's do it. First of all, I want to just say that anything with Orange Cassidy, I am looking forward to. But particularly in this case, I'm looking forward to seeing as much as I know that he's not going to probably win the championship off of Kenny Omega, he may not, but the mystery is there, and it'll be interesting to see how they're going to book this and how booking will be continuing going forward. So that's what I'm looking forward to at AEW's pay-per-view, and also the coronation of Dr. Britt Baker. But I think you guys could probably expand a little bit more on that. But what do you think? What are you looking forward to with Double or Nothing? John?
Yeah, I don't have a ton to say about it. I really enjoyed how Dynamite teed up the show. I thought that it definitely piqued my interest. I think there's going to be some good stuff there, but I am definitely looking forward to the triple threat. Lex, like
You know what's
said, I
really
think,
funny right there? Sorry,
I
I had to
love
stop.
Orange Cassidy.
I was sitting here and I was listening to Lex, but I was, it gets, and we've done it so many times. When he actually said John, I thought he's thrown to me right now. For a split second, I was like, "Oh crap! I got to keep going. Yeah, I got to talk." Yeah,
well,
that was really weird.
Well, I took the week off, so I'm chilling. But I get
You're
it.
just listening. No, that was really funny. For a second there, I almost was like, "Oh yes, Lex, I'm listening."
I think that triple threat's going to be great, and like you, I don't see Cassidy going over. I think Omega will retain. I just think that's where he needs to be right now, and but I think that's going to be a heck of a match. I think Britt Baker will wear that new belt proudly after Sunday.
One thing that I will say, though, I am also looking forward in terms of Orange Cassidy, especially with all the fans back in the arena, how they're going to pop for him and how they're going to react to everything that he's going to do. So again, the crowd is what I'm looking forward to. Mark, you've got something.
Yeah, John did mention the triple threat. I'm also in favor with Kenny Omega. I hope he stacks them and just pins them, just like what Roman did. A heel gotta do what they gotta do, right? Like, you do whatever you can just to win it back. I mean, I do also want Orange Cassidy just to put up the fight out there, like make this a very interesting match. What I do interested in, two heels don't make a right. You got Lance Archer.
What?
I'm gonna plead the fifth on this one.
Two heels don't make a right? That is a unique quote there.
It's a variation on a theme. Yes.
Yes. Two heels don't make a right. Oh, that's hilarious.
Okay.
Now
we know.
Sorry, you need to continue, but that woke me up.
Mm-hmm.
They're like, huh? Okay, all right, I see you.
You got Miro for the TNT Championship. Now, Miro, he finally got his due because WWE did not want to give it to him. Like, he earned an opportunity to, like, at least get a WWE shot. It would never happen for him. He finally got a TNT title match, and he finally won out of Darby Allin. And now I want to see Lance Archer because this guy, last year, he debuted a Double or Nothing. He was facing he was facing Cody. 1 year later, he's finally getting his redemption. It took him this long. So, two heels don't make a right. So someone's going to have to get out of there alive. I do like the DMD thing because now we got RBD, we got DDP, we got ACP, we got everything that leads with the letter D, E, or sometimes P. So DMD on my side. So we'll see.
Lots of initials.
Yeah. Okay.
It's right, didn't it?
Yes,
all
it did.
acronym wrestling.
All acronym.
Colin, what do you got, please?
I mean, yeah, we've said it. The triple threat, Orange Cassidy. I don't see him winning it, but he creates the what if discussion. What if he actually got it? I don't think he will because I don't know what happens then. But it's a great story. I'm looking for this match to elevate all three in terms of Kenny cementing even further his championship. I want people to remember how good Pac is, and I want Orange Cassidy to remain in the title discussion kind of thing. Another one I'm looking forward to would be Young Bucks and Mox and Kingston. I'm really enjoying Mox and Kingston as a tag team. I think it's just instant chemistry. They're hilarious to watch. Johnny, you're a fan of the little things. Those two are nothing but little things. Just watch the ones in the corner while something is happening in the ring. It'll be just as entertaining, as you guys know, Royal Rumble is my favorite match. So, of course, I'm anxious to see the Casino Battle Royale. I just love that kind of match. I want Christian to win that. To me, it's been a lot of talk about his outwork everyone. I want to see it. I think this is the match where, okay, prove your merch, pretty much. And of course, I mean, Britt Baker, for all of us who lived through Isaac Yankem, I think this is great to see a wrestling dentist take it to the heights that Britt Baker has taken it. So yeah, I'm all for the Britt Baker.
Nicely done, Colin.
This is a
Well done.
dentist appointment I would look forward to. Yeah.
Now that is a dentist that I would pay good money for to get my work done on my teeth. I would love to get new gum grafts from her as well. As I grind my teeth at night, unfortunately. But
Thank you, Lex.
Yeah, really appreciate that insight there, Mr. Tan. Thank you.
if she's as good of a doctor, a DMD as she says she is, maybe she could help me with my grinding somehow. Anyway, Chico.
What are we saying in this episode?
No, listen, Jose, that there, friends, that is the very definition of a Lexism. There's just these there's these moments where he will tie something in, just like you did not see that coming. You don't know. It's just these random little tangential moments. They're wonderful. They're hilarious.
Oh man, we were hoping that Lex was able to tune in tonight. Unfortunately, he was unable to, and that is one of those moments where we need explanations. Watch, you know what
Yeah,
this
and I'm sure he'd be happy to give them. So
you know what the series is going to turn into? Us interviewing the host about his show that we're a part of. It's going to be a weird circle that it will not make sense at some point.
Yeah, it's going to become an infinite loop at some point. I think. Yeah, infinite regression. Yeah,
we're getting there. We're getting there.
What are your thoughts?
Oh my gosh! You know, as I look up and down the card, I think this is going to be a solid pay-per-view. Just like Colin was saying, even the Casino Battle Royale, I think, holds some intrigue. I too want Christian Cage to prove that he can outwork everyone. But I mean, I'm a little torn about that as well because I mean, there's the full-time younger guys that are gonna be like, who's this old timer? Is gonna come in and take my spot. But then Christian Cage is not a part-timer per se; he's a full-time guy. So I'm okay with him winning, and then he can help elevate other people as a result of having that clout with this battle royale. So I hope that Christian Cage does pull it out. The TNT Championship, Mark pretty much summed everything up. Two heels facing each other, two big hosses. I'm looking forward to that too. I think both of them are quality workers. I think they're going to pull out something special, but maybe not the highlight of the night. I think it's going to be a nice hoss fight. The singles match between Adam Page and Brian Cage, I'm least maybe looking forward to because I already saw it on Dynamite. I don't really need to see it on Double or Nothing. Has no stakes. Whatever, probably affects the rankings that I still don't understand with this company. The tag team match between Darby and Sting versus Scorpio Sky and All Ego Ethan Page. I love Darby, but I really want Scorpio and Ethan Page to pull out the victory in this one. It's just they're a good pair. They got good promo skills. They got all of it going on right now, and I think they're going to need the win. Or at least if they don't get the win, they need to look like they've effectively beat down Darby and Sting by the end of by the end of that match. Cody Rhodes and Anthony Ogogo Dancer, it's okay. They could do whatever they want. Cody, I guess I'll pick.
What?
Yeah, I don't know what was I missed that. That was
Anthony,
I missed it. I don't know what that is.
Anthony a go-go dancer?
Who's he even talking about?
Anthony Go-Go. Then he just added the dancer after. I don't think I want to know what that
I don't think I watched any of this.
Yeah.
Stadium Stampede match I'm looking forward to. I'm really torn on who I want to win it. I don't think the Inner Circle should lose. I like having them around TV. I don't think they've worn out their welcome yet. I want the Inner Circle to pull it out somehow, unless this is their write-off for Chris Jericho going on tour or something. And then the World Tag Team Championship, I don't need to go into that. Mox and Kingston are my picks, but Bucks, they're on the super elite. So maybe they got to win, just win dirty. Women's World Championship, really looking forward to it. AEW World Championship as well. Those two matches are really good. I can't even decide which one I want to see more. But I think there's a lot packed into this pay-per-view, and I'm really looking forward to it.
Mark, you got something to say?
Yeah,
one
yeah,
more
yeah.
thing before we go.
Yeah, Colin and I know we're running out of time here. Colin and Chico, just to put on there, Christian Cage is the favorite. At his odds right now are plus 200 to win the Casino Battle Royale. But you know what though? Like the Young Bucks, you wearing $4,500 Jordan Dior ones onto the ring and decided to get buried. Now the stock is going lower on them. So yeah, I think it's probably good for a change that they might do lose. And Chico, you're right. And I think it's like a passover on that one. The Cody Rhodes and Anthony Gogo thing, this ain't an Olympic match. This ain't a boxing match, man. But it was actually pretty entertaining to see a weigh-in. And every pay-per-view, Cody's always headlining it. So probably maybe this is last match, and then we'll see, because we're expecting a child in the coming months.
Paternity leave, you're saying? Paternity leave will determine the result.
I don't know. I mean, like, what can you do? I mean, like, win or lose, this guy wants to get out, win or lose. I mean, he's got a higher role in the company, not just becoming a wrestler. He's got to become a dad.
And sometimes that is the highest calling that you could ever have in life, is to become a parent. John, you know it better than any of us. Thank you guys for being here on Ringside Heat. Thank you, Colin. Thank you, Mark. Thank you, John. And thank you, Chico, for being on the show. Come back next week, guys.
Be here.
Double or nothing, baby.
But we know that you're going to be enjoying this next week of wrestling, especially with everything that's going to be happening. And we'll talk about that next week on the next episode of Ringside Heat on Sauga 960 AM. I'm Lex Tan. You can get in touch with us on social media at ringside_heat. Until then, take care, and we'll talk soon.
That turned into a little bit of a. I think we're starting to get a little bit too comfortable as part of the ring crew, which is a good thing to a certain extent.
Yeah, we're definitely getting more relaxed
You're getting more relaxed.
Yeah, and that is only gonna develop. You're gonna see, the way I must admit, I kind of there's things that I like about how when we were all kind of hyper aware of our engagement in the first few episodes, there was something to that, because it gave everybody, pretty clear, we're going to do this. And now we're just kind of, it's a bit of a free for all, which is fun too. But yeah, you're seeing you're definitely seeing the group dynamic evolving here, and people are kind of settling into, I don't know, roles or characters within the crew, if that makes any sense.
I think that makes sense. Just a couple of clarifications that we needed. Cody Rhodes took on Anthony Ogogos, who is a former Olympian, the registered blind athlete. And I just looked up what a go-go dancer is, and I'm not going to repeat that here for the sake of it being a family show.
You had to look that up.
So you're going to look back at that episode a little bit differently now. All in all,
what go-go dancers are.
Okay, great. All in all, I think a fun episode. Very, very straightforward there. But that, in the words of Lex Tan, time is not our friend. He doesn't say it anymore.
No, he doesn't, does he? He changed that up.
Oh, he changed it up.
No, this was a pretty like doesn't sound like it was a real banger of a week in terms of wrestling.
No.
So I think we were just looking at what was there, and there are episodes like that. I mean, there's so many of them that it's like there are definitely episodes where we were trying to go, what are we going to talk about?
What are we doing? Yeah, and then even when we get there, you're just kind of flat. I think like how many episodes were like, we have a couple of discussions and we kind of stand there going, all right, what's next? Oh, and then all of a sudden, oh, I got it. Okay, great, go, and then start.
Yeah.
Right. So you're gonna see that a lot in the coming episodes, but I don't think we're gonna see that.
there's a point where it's not hard finding stuff to talk about. Business picks up.
For sure.
Business picks
absolutely.
up.
But I'm sure we're not going to run into that little lull. For this Thursday, for episode 6, a dynamite and impactful week of wrestling entertainment in the major leagues. Wow, that's a mouthful of a sentence.
Yes, and I don't know I know those words are all in English, but I don't know.
Alan Khan of STLDWrestling.com and panelist on Sauga 960 AM Peel Matters drops in to talk about the latest rumors and theories about WWE, and the complete ring crew weighs in on WWE releases and AEW successes. Yes, there are more releases that we spoke about. I did say that I was going to let you wait for those.
Yeah, I won't look them up. I'll wait for those.
We're going to get to that, but for now, that will conclude for us here. That concludes a very long evening of taping for us as well. So we're gonna reset, and then we're gonna come back and tape the next few for you all. So expect an episode this Thursday for episode 6 of Ringside Heat. So for the legendary John Dawson, I am Jose Taboada. Thank you so much for listening and tuning in. We will see you all Thursday. Take care, guys.